Every city and small town in America has its secrets.
It's easy to live in a bubble and think that the world's great, but you don't realize the pain and the suffering outside of your bubble in the world of human trafficking.
Scratch the surface, and you'll find the hidden world of America's modern slave trade.
The people behind human trafficking are everything from street-level criminals to ethnic organized crime. There's state-sponsored trafficking, and even border trafficking. Along the U.S.-Mexican border, the drug cartels there work with terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, and we have encountered every one of them.
Their victims are caught in a tangled web of drugs, violence, and dirty money.
People ask the question, who can be a trafficking victim? And the answer is anyone.
They're in so deep that there's no way out, unless they're lucky enough to know about Charles Powell. Former undercover detective, Charles gets people out of very bad situations. His organization, the Mercy Movement, is a clandestine cell system comprised of like-minded individuals seeking to end human trafficking where they find it.
Our organization is made up of people in the U.S. and around the world with very unique skill sets that we can call upon when needed. But to work with us, I have to know that you're willing to give your life to free someone from slavery. Because if you're not willing to do so, I can't use you.
All dedicated to laying their lives on the line to rescue victims of human trafficking.
It takes commitment to work with the Mercy Movement.
The first trip I ever took to Pakistan was pure adrenaline. Rescuing slave children from Taliban and Al-Qaeda was like Rambo meets Jason Bourne all rolled into one.
Are you willing to lay down everything, whatever the cost, to rescue a child or an adult?
On a constant basis, Charles and his team are contacted by a concerned family member, friend, or organization about an individual who is being trafficked.
Someone gives us a call and they say, my loved one is missing. I think they're being trafficked. And we ask ourselves, do we have any assets available in that particular city to check this out for us?
I'll get a phone call, and on the other end of the phone is Charles. So my job is to go into action, pulling together a group of people that I can trust to have my back.
They launch an operation to rescue this individual, which brings them face to face with the criminal underworld, a nasty place very few people ever get to see.
Now, we're not trying to be loud about what we do. Our motto is arrive in silence and leave like thunder. We come into town quietly and we identify the trafficked individual who wants to get out of the life, and then poof, like Kaiser Soze, they just disappear. They're never seen or heard from again. And their traffickers, they're left alone in the thundering silence.
Charles is the brains of the operation, founder of the Mercy Movement, and a modern-day abolitionist. His background, counterterrorism, close protection working for royalty. He's also an expert in undercover work, martial arts, and weapons of all kinds.
All of these skill sets, all of this tradecraft that I'd learned over the years really came together for a good purpose when human trafficking became an issue in my life. I'm not looking for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts here. I need people who have a sort of moral flexibility, allowing them to go in the field and do dirty deeds in the name of freeing slaves, and then go home quietly to their normal lives.
If you have a friend or a family member who's being trafficked, you're going to call the organization and you're going to talk to Charles. You'll never know that I existed. Charles is the one that is the liaison with the family members. Basically, he pulls the trigger and I'm the bullet.
Jody is the one who implements the rescue plan. He's second in command.
My job is to put a team together, implement the rescue plan, safely transport the individual.
Jody is an unbelievable martial artist. He's a black belt in multiple disciplines. I mean, you'd never really know it to meet him on the street. He has this sort of unique ability to sort of fade into the background.
We were actually on a rescue one time, and the girl we rescued turned around in the car and looked back at me and she said, "What exactly do you do?" And I answered her, being completely honest, and I said, "Well, I'm a musician. I actually have a country band." And she looked at me and she said, "There's no way."
Jody would give his life for a human trafficking victim. I have seen him put his body between a trafficker and a victim, and the traffickers lose every time.
I can honestly say I've never felt more fulfilled in anything in my life than when I've rescued another human being.
To the dedicated members of the Mercy Movement, victims of trafficking aren't statistics. They're people with a problem in need of an immediate solution.
I got a call from a nonprofit about a woman being trafficked in Detroit, Michigan, and I immediately called Jody.
These people, the Mercy Movement, came in like a SWAT team to help me. As we were walking out to the car, my pimp started to approach us, and he and Jody exchanged a couple words.
He presents us with an option. So I, in turn, present him with an option. We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
And my pimp backed off. This big, tough, woman-beating gorilla pimp had no words and just watched me walk away.
The motto of the Mercy Movement is, arrive in silence, leave like thunder.
When we go to rescue someone, as long as they want to leave, they're going to leave. We don't let anybody stand in our way.
I don't know what it is about the way that I'm wired, but I'm really not afraid, because freedom belongs to every victim, and I see myself as an instrument of that freedom.
I feel a need to leave a mark in the world that says, you know, hey, my life had meaning and it had a purpose and a calling. On the other hand, there are often those things we see that aren't very pretty, things that we'd probably like to forget about, but you can't do that very easily. The kind of things that people in the suburbs don't even know exist in their city.
The first time I rescued another human being, and I had him in my arms, and they gave me a hug and looked at me and said thank you, there was something in me that clicked, and I became addicted to seeing people's lives changed.
There are people alive today who would be dead if we hadn't intervened in their lives. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, what we do is very dangerous, but I can work without certain levels of fear because I know that if it's not my day to die, nothing can harm me. And if it is my day to die, I gave my life so that someone else could live in freedom.